The Banter Years is a period in Scottish history that follows the death of Rangers Football Club and the rise of Sevco, a tribute act to the dead Glasgow giant. It is 2012 and Graham Spears will provide us with some recent history regarding old Rangers.
David Murray had Rangers making losses of about 29 million one year, 33 million another year, and about 30 million a third year. 3 successive years of swinging losses. Now, nobody is going to tell me that is not reckless management of a football club.
We begin our story as 17,800 fans packed out Ibrox in echoes of the 80s as Dundee United put them to the sword. Jim Spence would later opine about the Rangers fans' attitude of donning the cap to the man in the big house, and he wondered if the fans would rise up the way that Celtic, Hibs and Dundee United fans had in the past to help save their club. This was the most stark of warnings.
Today was the most practical way forward to safeguard the long-term survival of Rangers, which is what we're all about, and prevent the possible closure of the club. We hope to continue discussions with HMRC and have practical proposals in place. I spoke to the manager, the staff and supporters representatives this afternoon and have outlined the position. This is a difficult day for Rangers, but we'll emerge as a fitter and stronger club from this. Thank you very much.
We had booze outside Ibrox tonight, changing mood amongst the fans.
Absolutely. I mean,
even Jabba himself asked the question that every sane person in Scotland had asked themselves at that time.
There's an answer, but you know, you think, why on earth would you buy a club that no one else is touching because of the EBT, the potential tax liability? Why would you buy it?
Last May, this man, Craig White, took over from Sir David. But the venture capitalist is controversial. He'd been banned for 7 years from holding company directorships. Last week, his evidence in a court case was judged wholly unreliable.
I mean, I've been cynical about Craig White for a long time, and a lot of the Rangers fans stood by him. But this guy is a remarkable guy. I mean, in a court case in London, he was described as thoroughly unfit, and in a court case in Scotland by the judge, he was described as wholly unreliable. And if I was a Rangers fan, I would be very, very worried about the club just now.
Hello, good afternoon. Rangers Football Club, one of the most famous in Britain, has announced it's gone into administration.
A sporting institution now in administration. For Rangers Football Club, this moment was a long time coming, but it's still painful. The immediate implication for Rangers is a 10-point penalty in the Scottish Premier League, probably handing the title to city rivals Celtic.
Never mind the 10 points off, the league's gone and that's it. Right, the bottom line is, the big house must stay open. That's the bottom line.
Gutted for every single Rangers fan. What can you do? It's happened. We need to move on now. 140 years of history. Just start again now.
It's just the families that come here together.
Devastated, of course, but I think we'll come back stronger for it.
We need to know what's happening at this club. That is the problem. Nobody seems to want to talk to the fans. The fans are...
But soon an announcement was made, and they did talk to the fans.
Whilst today is a very sad day for Rangers and its fans, the administration addresses a terrible uncertainty that's been hanging over the club.
Lorna, we were just hearing from some of those really dejected Rangers fans, and some people saying this is really the culmination of years of mismanagement of the club.
And just before 3 o'clock, 140 years of history for Rangers Football Club came to the climax when a piece of paper was handed over with a petition on it from Rangers to appoint an administrator.
With no voluntary agreement, the other options would involve winding up a club that's been at the heart of Scottish football since 1872.
Reports would flow about how much money the old Rangers were hemorrhaging at the time.
You know, at the moment, but Craig White has also said that this club is spending more by about £10 million than it gets in every year.
It's an awful lot of money to be hemorrhaging per month, let's put it that way.
Was this financial doping? Had Rangers been cheating? What did everybody think? And what would administration and potentially liquidation mean? Everybody in Scotland had to become an expert quick.
They'll think to themselves, well, wait a minute, that's slightly unfair. We might have debts, but we're not writing them off. I mean, we're trying to trade through it, we're trying to work through it. So there's a bit of you that thinks as a football club, well, wait a minute, that's slightly unfair, that's bordering on cheating. I think it's morally bankrupt to do it a lot of the times. I think it's an abuse of a position.
On those terms, because some folk at home might be saying what's the difference between administration and liquidation, and I guess, Stephen, you're the man to explain.
But of course, administration, you know, we like to think of that as a kind of positive opportunity, but it needn't necessarily lead to a positive outcome, because companies will go into administration and will then not be able to be saved, and the next stage of that is some form of liquidation, where essentially the company goes out of business.
In football, the contract cannot be unilaterally terminated by the club or by the player, but administration changes that over what happens to them, because all of a sudden these contracts that were signed in good faith are perhaps not worth the paper they're written on when administration comes.
As Rangers lay dying, many made predictions about what would happen next. The points had been deducted. A shadow loomed over them. Find out in part 2.
And I think there's a real threat of liquidation. But what is inconceivable to me is that after liquidation, some kind of reconstitution of a new club will not be formed.